Welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Patty Connor Maley. Patty, how can people reach you to have them talk to their women?
Well, actually, I have business cards, and the way to reach me and know that I can get back with you at 330-453-6671.
Let's say that one more time, please.
Yes, 330-453-6671. And should we not receive it right away, we'll get back with you.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're good with having people just give you a call and you will call them back. And
oh, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
You were talking about the importance of devotions in the day. When a person's day is scheduled so quickly that, you're microwaving a Pop-Tart for breakfast and running out the door. If you are scheduled that tight, how does a person, okay, I'm going to say this is a leading question, squeeze devotions into an already busy day?
I really am an advocate for tapes and things that people can put on and hear it while they're doing their daily chores, because you're still getting that word. Because the Bible said faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So if you listen to it and it permeates your spirit and you take a bath in it,
yeah,
it's wonderful. And it will do just as much as if you're sitting down and reading it. Not to take away from that, but we have to be realistic. We live in a fast-paced world, and people are on the go, especially people with little children. They have to drop them off at daycare. They have to drop them off at school. They have to make sure their lunches are together, that their clothes are intact, so forth and so on. And they lead busy lives. So it's just the world we live in today. And if you can get it by tape, I say get it by tape or CD.
I have heard someone say that the first hour is the rudder of the entire day. Whatever you do in that first hour from waking seems to set the pace for that entire rest of the day. And you are right. If you not squeeze devotions into a busy day, but start there. Start with devotions. Start with, as you say, like a tape or something, maybe while you're on the treadmill or something. That is the beginning of the day. Boy, doesn't the rest of the day just fall into place. Have you found that?
Oh, yes. And prayer without ceasing, pray without ceasing.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah.
It's a conversation.
You can just be talking to the Lord while you're doing your dishes.
Always.
When you first get up and before you even put your feet on the floor, just, Lord, thank you for this day. And just get up and just start talking to him, because a lot of times Denny and I are pressed if we have an engagement and we don't have time to sit down. But when we do, that it's delightful and it's wonderful, and the Lord really meets us. But when you're in a hurry and you have to be somewhere, you have to be realistic. So prayer without ceasing is our go-to. We're praying in the car, or I'll say, oh, we didn't pray. We got so tangled up in what we were doing. And so we're praying while that car is moving, because,
Car's a great prayer place. That's a great prayer closet.
Oh, absolutely.
But keep your eyes open.
That's right. That's right.
Again, what is it about women? You work with women a lot. From your perspective, what is it about women that makes us feel like we have to take on every single thing that comes our way?
Well, I really believe, the man is the Lord is the head of us, our household. Then whether you're single or whether you're married, whether you have your parents, whether you have young children, whatever the case may be, the Lord is the head of our life. And then, because he's our creator and he knows us so intimately, and he wants us to take that time with him. But the Lord is our covering, and then the husband is the covering of the wife. But the wife runs the mechanics of the home. Yeah. She's the heartbeat of the home. And I think from generations down, she's the one that, made sure that the meals were on the table, that the clothes were washed, and it was just, it's reversed. There's men now that stay home and do that, and the woman works out in the workplace. But I think from the get-go, it was always, it just became our responsibility to see that everything was accomplished. But I think that there again, if you delegate, I think
that's
if
good.
you delegate responsibilities, you know, it's so much easier, and then you do have time to do a little bit more of what you want to do.
I love that. The woman's a heartbeat. You know, have you seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yes.
The man's the head, but the woman's the neck, and the neck turns the head whichever direction she wants it to go.
Yes.
But I like what you say better. The woman is the heartbeat of the home. That's so good. You've said two words again and again. I want to get back to them. You've said balance, and you've said priorities. They kind of go hand in hand, don't they? Once we set our priorities, then we find balance. We know when we don't have balance in our lives. What are some of the signals that our life has become completely unbalanced?
I think when you find yourself going down the road, maybe perhaps you're going to work, or you're going to an appointment, whatever you're going to, and you realize, I got to do this, and this. And you find yourself with more weight in one area, and the other things are lacking. And a woman will feel guilty right away if she's not there for her children. We all know that a mother that loves her children, and most mothers do, they want to be there for their children. But if you are in one area, it doesn't have to be the church. I'm a very great advocate for the church. The church is what sustained me growing up, because like I said, my family, they didn't have a relationship with the Lord, like I'm privileged to have now, and I thank God for that. But I really do believe that when you start feeling pulled in one area too much, then your other areas are lacking, and then guilt becomes a part of your everyday occurrence.
Temporarily, that might happen. And then when it becomes that is the new normal, something's got to be done, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And there again, we come back to basic biblical principles, trust the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him. And I think if that is your basis, that's your foundation, and then your family has to come second. It has to come second. And when you see that there's neglect in any given area, not deliberate, but because you're over here doing too much, or it can even be the opposite, you can be there for your family and really not doing what God's called you to do either. It can go both ways. But
that guilt is something. Women are hard on themselves, and women are hard on each other. For women who are working out of the home, that guilt of I should be home with my kids. For women who are stay-at-home, working-at-home moms, that guilt of I should be helping my family out financially. How do we give ourselves a break?
Well, I really do think that you have to make time. You are the one that has to do that. No one can do that for you. You have to do that for yourself and for your family. Number one, God, and then your family, and then everything else falls in place. But you have to do that because God requires us. There's just certain things that God requires of us. And if he gives you a family, you have to take care of it. You have to take care of it.
And I want to peel that back even a little bit further because I've seen women pour themselves into their children. They are incredible mothers at the expense of their marriage. So that once those children go off and they're in college and it's an empty nest, there's a husband and a wife looking at each other basically saying, who are you? Touch on that, the importance of where we need to care for our marriages while we're parenting.
Well, I think Okay, that's where the balance comes in your family life. I believe there's like 5 components in family life, and one of them being emotional and mental. You have to have love, acceptance, and encouragement in the home, and that is so important to a child's mental health and to your husband and or your wife's mental health. It's so vital. We're created to love one another, and we're created to love God first and then one another. And like I said earlier, if he places you in a position where you have family to take care of and you have a husband, and we all know we don't want to neglect anybody, we don't do it deliberately, but you have to set time for those things. So one of the components is emotional and mental. Another one is, this is toward the end, but is rest and play. I really believe that you have to. The Lord made the earth in 6 days, and He rested on the 7th.
Yes.
And I used to have a friend of mine. She would say, "Oh, the joy of the Lord is my strength. I can go, go, go." Well, I found that I couldn't go, go, go like she could, and so I feel that. You have to take time, and irregardless how long you've been married, if you've been married 30 years, you have to date your mate.
Amen.
You have to date your mate.
Yes.
You have to take time with your spouse. And if you can't afford a lot, then you make it a priority, and you network maybe with some other friends of yours, for the younger ones that have children, then you network with your friends, and maybe you can watch their children at one point and they can watch yours, and maybe just have a night at home just by yourselves, but you really do have to date your mate.
These are good. You have so much wisdom to share. How do people contact you again, Patty, in case they would love to have you come speak with their women's group, or I'm sure there's a banquet or a conference. You're willing to do all of these, yes?
Yes.
How do they reach you, Patty?
At 330-453-6671.
And say that again, please.
330-453-6671.
Patty Connor Maley, thank you so much for all you do in our community.
Thank you.